Today we have a new compact flagship, the Google Pixel 10. Is the Pixel 10 what you've been waiting for from Google? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and let's find out in our full review. The Google Pixel 10 may be the lowest tier model from the new Pixel lineup, but it still packs a punch features-wise. Of course, as a Pixel, you get the latest Google software and AI features, set up as Google intended. But there are also quite a few upgrades over last year, like a new camera setup with the Telephoto zoom, a next-gen chipset, a larger battery, and improved charging. The design of the Pixel 10 hasn't changed much, but you may notice the extra camera sitting on the horizontal camera bump. The glossy back is again made of Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and is flat, but rounds out at the edge where it meets the flat aluminum frame. The phone feels solid yet compact in hand. We really like this design. And as before, the Pixel 10 has IP68 rated ingress protection against dust and water. The display of the phone is much the same as last year. It's again a 6.3-inch OLED with a 1080p resolution, a 120Hz refresh rate, and Gorilla Glass Victus 2 protection. The screen looks good, with plenty of sharpness and support for HDR10+ video playback. The bezels on the edge of the display are a little on the thicker side though, noticeably more than on the Galaxy S25 for example. What makes the Pixel's display shine is its brightness. Like last year, this is one of the brightest screens around, measuring over 1300 nits with the manual brightness slider and boosting to over 2000 nits in auto brightness mode. This means you get excellent legibility outside, even on a really sunny day. Unlike the more expensive Pixel models, you don't have LTPO tech. This means that while you do have the smooth 120Hz refresh rate, and it can dial down to 60Hz when the screen is idling, it won't go lower than that. For audio, the Pixel 10 has stereo speakers with very good loudness, and the sound quality is good too. It's full and warm with noticeable bass. You can listen for yourself through our comparison tool linked below. To wake up and unlock the Pixel 10, there's a fast and reliable ultrasonic fingerprint reader, just like last year. And the Pixel 10 can come with 128 or 256 gigs of storage on board that isn't expandable through microSD card. With the Pixels, you get Google's stock Android software experience. But keep in mind, it's far from stripped down. In fact, it offers plenty of special features. One difference you may notice here is that Android 16 on the Pixel 10 comes with the new Material 3 Expressive UI. It offers more dynamic and fluid animations. The notification shade also has a live update section. This is a larger space that showcases the status of things like food delivery, navigation, and timers. The system also groups notifications from apps to make your notification shade less cluttered. Then there's something called Magic Queue, specific to the new Pixels. With this feature, Google's AI tracks your information between your apps, emails, and conversations. It connects the dots and can call up the data you need when you need it. For example, it could pull up an address for an event you're going to when a friend messaged you asking about it. While Gemini Live is something you can find on other Android phones, Google claims that the language model is improved on the Pixels for more expressive conversations. And there's also a new AI photo editing tool. With it, you just describe what you want to change or remove, and the AI will take care of it. But at the moment, the feature only works for users in the USA. For software support, you can expect 7 major OS upgrades and 7 years of security patches, just like the older Pixel generations. The new Pixel runs on a new chipset, a Google-made Tensor G5. It promises better overall performance than the previous generation, a better TPU for onboard AI-based tasks, as well as an improved ISP for camera processing. The phone feels snappy and responsive overall, and in benchmarks we do see an improvement in the scores compared to last year's Pixels. However, the results are still way behind the top of the current flagship crop. Furthermore, the Pixel 10 doesn't do a good job when it comes to thermal management. During our prolonged stress tests, the phone throttled hard, going down to less than 30% of max CPU performance. The phone got plenty hot while testing too. The Pixel 10 has a larger battery than the Pixel 9. It's 4,970 mAh compared to 4,700 last year. But actually, the Pixel 10's battery life scores are far from impressive. The phone earned an overall active use score of just 9 hours and 38 minutes, a considerably worse result than the Pixel 9. Another so-called upgrade is that the wired charging is now rated at 30 watts, compared to 27 watts last year. Despite that though, the charging speed is slower. We were able to charge the phone from 0 to just 46% in half an hour, and a full charge took an hour and 38 minutes. There's now support for 25-watt Qi wireless charging, complete with the magnets needed to align the phone. It's quite like Apple's MagSafe. However, you no longer have reverse wireless charging. Now onto the cameras, which, like I mentioned, include a new 5x telephoto zoom. However, maybe due to cost cutting, the Pixel 10's main and ultrawide cameras have been downgraded. Both now have lower res, smaller sensors. During the day, the main cam does a decent job, but it still isn't too impressive. While the colors and contrast look good, and the dynamic range is excellent, the detail and sharpness leave more to be desired, especially in objects like foliage or buildings in the distance. We also notice some softness in indoor scenes, where the lighting isn't perfect. Here's a look at some shots of people, both in photo mode and in the dedicated portrait mode. In low light, the photos from the main camera are decent, but again, not up to the level you'd expect from a flagship. There is plenty of detail, colors are accurate, and dynamic range is wide, but the sharpness is an issue here. Also, light sources sometimes come out with color fringing. This camera can focus from quite close, taking some nice close-ups. And you can get your macro subjects even closer with the 2x zoom mode. The general photos in the 2x mode, however, don't come out so hot. The digital crop from the main camera produces soft-looking photos. Not what you'd expect at this price level, not to mention a Pixel. Now we have the telephoto camera's 5x zoom shots, which left us wanting for more. Dynamic range is okay, and the colors and contrast are well matched to the main camera's processing. However, the level of resolve detail and the artificial rendition of the foliage were not our favorites. Even in good lighting, the photos are okay, but not very sharp, especially in the darker areas of the scene. Since the telephoto camera doesn't have a very large sensor, we weren't expecting great performance at night. These photos are incredibly soft and lack fine detail. Light sources can come out clipped too. The ultra-wide camera also could have had better sharpness, and this camera is not able to focus from up close, unlike the Pixel 9's. At least the dynamic range is decent, and the colors and contrasts are aligned with those of the main cam. In low light, the ultra-wide cam is a mixed bag. On one hand, the dynamic range is nice, thanks to the good ISP. But on the other hand, nothing can really save this unassuming camera hardware from producing mushy photos after dark. Selfies come from the same 10.5 megapixel autofocusing selfie cam as last year. The quality is good, with nice detail and natural colors. The selfies always turn out sharp, and the subject is well exposed. The Pixel 10 can record videos in up to 4K at 60 FPS with all of its cameras. The main camera records quite decent videos. Sure, the level of resolve detail could be better, and there's some noise here and there, but the dynamic range and color reproduction are spot on, so the footage quality is quite okay overall. The 5x zoomed footage looks good too, but you can spot even more noise, even in good light, and these clips appear wobbly, and a never-ending jiggle, even though the stabilization appears to be doing its job well, so we're not sure what's going on here. On the other hand, the ultra-wide's videos were a nice surprise after the lackluster photo quality. There's a good amount of detail, and colors and contrast are solid. Noise is once again visible if you look close enough though. The Pixel 10's electronic video stabilization is great. The clips come out very smooth, even while moving or walking. And in low light, the video quality from the main camera remains quite good, with some balanced rendition of shadows and highlights. Unlike the low light photos, Google has done a good job with the low light video rendering. So that's the Google Pixel 10. In many ways it's quite similar to last year's Pixel. You have the same great looking and compact design, a similar display, and a familiar Google software experience. And this time around you have a new, more powerful chipset and 5x optical zoom. There are quite a few issues though. While the zoom is nice to have, the other rear cameras have gotten a downgrade. The battery life is worse here, and charging is slower, and the thermal management is not good. With these in mind, it's hard to recommend the Pixel 10, especially since you can get a higher tier Pixel 9 Pro from last year for about the same money. Thanks for watching guys. Here are links to some alternatives on our channel, the Google Pixel 9 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S25. Let us know what you think and I'll see you on the next one.